Coach, thanks for taking the time to join me, my man. As we were
course.
doing this, it hit me. This is the first time I think we've spoken on camera. We speak all the time.
Is it?
Before game or something like that, text message. But
That's
I think
true.
the reason it hit me is because I was thinking, do I call him Coach? Do I call him CB? Because I normally call you CB,
Man,
and you
whatever.
don't care.
I'm good. No,
Yes,
I'm good.
and that leads me to my first question out of all this, because from day one since you came in, it was evident to me that you wanted everybody to just feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And one way you did that was even how people addressed you. As long as it was respectful, you know, like you was good with it. Have you always been that way? Because it's not everybody that has your resume that's cool with somebody walking up to them, CB, Chauncey. You know what I'm saying? So have you just always been that way?
I have, man. I have. I've always kind of been that way. Just really kind of casual and cool and chill. I'm not really into, for me at least, like titles and things like that. I know from my own personal self, like I was taught and I always believe, like however I meet somebody, even if it's young, that's how I always address them. For instance, like say I had a teacher that was young or a coach or whatever when I was young. Even now to this day, I call them that. Mrs. Turner or Mr. whatever or Coach. Like no matter what, how old I've gotten, however I met you is how I'm always going to address you. Like that's always kind of how I've been, but that's just how I am with everybody, you know. But I don't. It's just whatever. I'm as long as it's my name or what it is, like you know, and it's respect, it's all good.
Yeah, that is how you are with everybody. Even as we were walking in here just now, a gentleman at the door opened the door for us and said, man, I grew up watching you. And that happens everywhere we go. People will ask me all the time, what's it like, you know, with Chauncey Billups and this? I grew up watching you, you know, so I know what time it is. And every single time that I've observed you, you have made time for those people. You made them feel special in that moment. Is that something that intentionally you tell yourself, or is it just recognition of, you know what you mean to people, and you want to be present for them at all times?
No, I don't even think about it, to be honest. I'm just so thankful, you know, and blessed, to be honest with you, that I was able to have that type of career and that type of impact and influence throughout my years. And now is the time, at this age, with some of the younger generation than me, where they're kind of just giving it back to me, like, man, like I appreciated your game, or you did this, or y'all beat this team, or. So I just, it's all love for real, but I appreciate, you know, that people just kind of remember that. You know?
Yeah. So I mentioned that gentleman. Your phone been blown up since we have left from that location. We were just had to walk over here. Somebody's always tugging at you. So take me into a day in your life. Right now we're in Sacramento. Take me from this morning to the plane ride to here. What does this kind of day look like for you?
This is probably an easy day for me, but man, I'm up pretty early. Left the house to go to the gym or to the practice facility at like 8 today, so I was kind of late. I usually get there a little earlier. My daughter been a little sick, so I was just making sure she was good, knowing that I was leaving town. So making sure she was all right and her day was planned, and you know, with my wife and her going to the doctor, taking her to the doctor. So I'm figuring all of that out. Then I get to work. I say work just because it sounds good, but it don't feel like work. I got the best job ever, man. But and then I'm in it. You know, we got a coaches meeting at 9 o'clock, but I got a couple meetings before at like 8:30. You know, I'll try to have like a little smoothie for breakfast.
Okay.
And then we'll have practice at 11. And then we have practice. We go over that. I have another meeting or two before I leave. We got the flight at 3. We get here, boom. As soon as we get here, we do this. After this, I'll turn most of my attention to the Kings, you know, and prepping for them. You know, we usually don't have this type of advantage where we have 2 days where we can be thinking about, but 2 days off, it feels like 3 days, to be honest, because you go so much with such frequency in the NBA. But so I already started on them, or we did as a staff, and I'll kind of fine tune most of the stuff tonight and have dinner and That's what today looks like.
Yeah. You mentioned your family. How's your family doing?
My family's awesome. I appreciate you asking. My family's awesome. The ones that live here with me in Portland, or not here, but in Portland, my youngest daughter, who's Sanaya, she's a senior in high school. And then my wife, obviously. And we have 2 older daughters. One lives in LA, one lives in Minnesota. So, but my family's awesome, man. My family's great, beautiful.
Good.
Man.
Which one, remind me, was the one that was on you about technical fouls? Was that the youngest one?
Yeah. That's the youngin.
So what was it? Every technical foul?
Every technical foul, I owe her. So I got to get fined by the league, and you fining me. So I had to take it easy. Okay. So I only got one so far, but she told me the other day. She said, "Dad, you need to tame it down a little bit.
Okay.
You've been getting close." I said, "You know what? You're right.
She's watching you.
I got to take it down a notch."
We're getting rebounds down there. Get the rebound, we gone. Oh, y'all yours. By yourselves, guys. Got to be up. All right, we all right. Come on, baby, let's go. Defense, 1, 2, 3.
How you feeling about your team right now? Because we're excited about them.
Yeah.
The energy, the effort they play with, picking up full court, like all of that. To me, it seems like it's a team that's starting to embody more of your characteristics in terms of approach to the game. Am I accurate? Am I seeing that the right way?
Lamar, man, I'm having so much fun coaching these dudes. I'm so happy with where we are. You know, obviously, it's always like if it ain't rough, it ain't right, you know, for us. I mean, Ant goes out in the first game, best player gets hurt in the first game. Then obviously, you know, Scoop goes down, now Rob goes down, but man, it's been so much fun coaching these guys. And to your point, having like a blank canvas, you know, and I've always felt like over the course of time, if you have any continuity, and you would notice as a player, like you're going to take on the personality of that head coach if you get to spend enough time together. And I already feel like these guys they're doing that. You know, they know what's important to myself and the staff from a standpoint of just competing every night and sharing the basketball and playing together on both sides and communicating and just not letting anything be easy for your opponent. Like that's how the game should be played, you know. And the best teams play it that way. So I'm having so much fun coaching these dudes, man.
I can tell.
Everything we ask them or I ask them, they try it, man.
Yeah.
And they try it hard. You know, I love it.
There you go, Shane. There you go, boy. Good job.
I can tell you're having fun because a lot of ways, but after the first game against the Grizzlies the other day, you had a towel wrapped around your neck at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And you walked off the court with the towel still on.
Yeah.
And I used to always say to people, again, they ask me, you know, what's Coach Billups like? I said, he's like a player that just happens to be out there on the sideline.
Yes.
Did you know you had that towel wrapped around the way you did?
I knew, here's what I knew. I knew this is another difference in this year with these guys. What I've recognized, I'm coaching so much harder. Because we're so young and I'm teaching so much, and sometimes a lot of that teaching is in the game, in the hit at the time. So my activity is up.
Yeah.
Well, because of that, in that game, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to Dr. Court, the trainer, and I'm saying, let me see that towel.
Get the towel.
So I'm like wiping my head, and I had to get it again. I said, let me just keep it. Let me just keep it. So I didn't realize that I walked off with it.
Oh, yeah.
But to your point, that's all I know.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I coach, that's how I teach, that's how I love, that's how I lead, that's how everything is. All I know is how I always done it.
Yeah.
You know, and our guys seem to love it, you know, and I'm glad they do because it's all I know.
Yeah. You actually walked onto the court after the horn sounded and you went to go coach DA some more. Because there was something at the end, and you still had the towel. So exactly what you're saying, like I'm replaying it in my head, and it was just really cool to see. And I can tell that they're responding to you the same way you're responding to them, and it almost feels like just a full control situation.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like this team more than any team you've had, where there's been all kind of just inconsistencies. Like you walked into it, whether it's from leadership roles of changes that have happened, star players that. Do you feel like this is a chance for you to like really get your footing going into this year?
Yeah, I do. I think more than anything, with us being so young and we don't have anybody here that was here when I first got here outside of Ant. And like somebody told me a stat that was crazy. They said our longest tenured actual player other than Ant is Shaden. I'm like, man, that sounds so crazy.
It is.
You know.
It is.
Yeah, I do. Like I feel really good about, you know, where we can take it, you know, as we start building it and as we are developing, you know, our young guys. I want them to learn the game the right way. This game has changed so much since I played it, you know, and what I've taken very serious is I want to change with it. Like, I don't want to be this dinosaur where it's like, no, play like how we play. No, you can't play like we were scoring 85 points. It was 85 to 91. Like, we can't play that way. So I'm never going, and I also never do that. Like, I never am talking to the guys like, yeah, when I played, or this is what not one time in my whole time here, I don't do that.
I've never heard you say that.
And so, but I do believe that there's so many things that happen that allow me to go back and share when I was in this position. Here's what I did. For instance, with Scoop. Scoop starts off the season, he's struggling a little bit. I struggled as a third pick in the draft. There's nobody in this world that can ever tell him that from experience. This is how I felt, this is what I did, man, just relax, it's okay, you know. So that's not me saying, look what I did, it's me saying, I got so many experiences in my career that I'm blessed to have that I can actually help y'all.
Yeah. Empathy.
Like I can meet y'all where y'all at every time. So I love that about it. You know, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to coach is because I knew they need what I went through. You know, they need it. They need to hear it. They need to get away from those background noise and they homies and they family sometime and they significant like those are gonna be biased. You know, you need to hear the real for somebody that actually did it and went through it. So I love that.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
Yeah, it shows. It shows. With these young guys, are there some blanket things that with all the young guys, you know, I got to work on this with all the young guys? Versus you got some of the young guys where, okay, we got a tailor-made approach to this person because he got that down, but he don't have this. Like, how do you coach and separate those two things?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different, as you know, but I think just the common denominators on all of them, and this is a mistake that I made my first year, is you start to assume that they can do this or do that. But I'm talking about all the way down to just the simple fundamentals. You know, dribbling with both hands, passing with both hands, executing a bounce. Like these are things that you would be thinking like, man, I should be teaching 4th and 5th graders these type of things, which you do. Well, these guys have been so gifted for so long that you get to this level and you've skipped a lot of steps in the process. And so for me, I got to analyze that and see that, and I'm saying, no, sometimes we got to work on simple passes, chest passes. You know, like you have to do those things because it comes into play in a real game. And you end up, because you can't complete a pass, you turn it over too much, or a guy was wide open, but he had to catch it down here, and now about time he gets it here, he's not open anymore. It didn't closed out. Well, our guys a lot of times don't know why he didn't get that shot off. Well, it's because he had to take so much time because the pass was poor. So just little things like that, you have to really, really break it all the way down. So it helps me to be able to do it because I haven't had to do that. You know, when I was done playing and just my IQ in the game, it's just so high level that you got to bring it all the way down so they understand it. They don't know, you know. And these guys are so young, they never seen me play. You know, they heard about it, but they never seen it. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they didn't look it all up, you know, and check them receipts on it.
They've been on YouTube. Basketball reference, all that.
All that.
I think the thing for me being able to be in my role as the analyst and be able to observe you, that has been the most impressive is who you've shown up as every day, even outside of basketball. Whether it's PBLA, Porter Billups Leadership Academy, whether it's last season during a very tough season, you coming off of a road trip, showing up at Moda Center because our very own Michael Houghton was having a group of kids from Kairos PDX, and you went there to go and talk to that group of kids.
Yeah.
Or you connecting with one of the reps at Moda Health who happens to coach a CYO team in our Portland area, and telling that rep, I will show up and come to your kids' games. And these are things, we never talked about this.
Yeah.
These are just things.
We haven't.
We never did. We never talked about this, and I don't know if you even knew I was aware of all that, but there's a lot of that stuff happening that I know you do all the time, and you were doing it at times when the team wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
And it would have been very easy to kind of go in the shell, and you always show up for people. Why?
Man, that's funny. I didn't know you knew all of those things, but it's so much bigger than basketball for me. Basketball has always just kind of been the vehicle, for me to get there and have some influence, and then you can show them who you really are. I've always just felt that way, and those things are important to me, like PBLA, you mentioned it, my leadership academy back home, just giving back to kids, and it's all education based, and what Mike did, where I showed up at, like, to me, that's the real play, because I can remember the reason why I do these things, and I never really turn them down.
Yeah.
And I'm always consistent, no matter we winning or losing, it don't matter.
Yeah.
I'm always consistent, but I always do it because I remember being the young kid in the inner city, at risk, youth, disadvantaged. I remember that being that kid.
Yeah.
And there were like players from like the Denver Nuggets and the Broncos that showed up to the inner city, probably had an appearance to do. But I can remember how it made me feel. And I remember the hope that it gave me. And I'm just like, dang, like, man, one day, I'm telling you, if I'm lucky enough to be that, man, I'm always gonna show up, because I knew what it did for me, you feel me? So that's why, like, it don't matter. Like, we win, we lose, we get back at 3 a.m, we get back, man, that stuff don't even matter to me. Like, there's some people that I know we can really impact in this world, and it don't have to do with wins and losses, And that's why it's just always gonna be me, man.
Yeah. A lot of people make that commitment at an early age, or say, if I get to that point, and then they get there and they forget about it.
That's true.
So thank you.
That's true.
For keeping your word, Coach.
Absolutely.
Sitting down.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thank you,
you.
man.
Yep.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.